Well, greetings everybody for a sleety, cold, frozen rain day here in Denver, Colorado. Today, update on COVID, 187 new positive cases, lower testing numbers than usual, but that's to be expected with the holiday weekend. We're hoping that we can increase that visibility over the next few days. A lot of people are no doubt getting tested today who might have had symptoms over the weekend. So far, continue to be stable in Colorado with numbers that are well within the capacity of our healthcare system. Obviously, the minute we provide the virus with an environment to grow exponentially, it will. And today's real announcements are about how we avoid doing that. How do we do what we love, namely watch the Broncos, but also it's a good template for other types of sporting events. How do we do that in a way that is also reasonably safe? Because this virus can defeat us in two ways. One is it can obviously hospitalize us, cause illness, and destroy our health, and in some cases even cost us lives. It can also win by defeating our spirit, and we can't let it defeat our spirit. Our large events and Broncos games and other types of sporting events are a big part of that spirit, and the answer is not that they can't occur. The answer is, of course, they're going to occur, but we need to do them in a safe way. And of course, that safe way includes the opportunity to cheer on the Broncos in person and really moving 1 yard at a time, getting that safe process right, which of course is important to the public health, but also very important to the Broncos organization, which of course takes the health and wellness of their own fan base very seriously. Our success thus far in Colorado is really just an ongoing reflection of everybody doing their part. Businesses operating safely, people wearing masks, people acting responsibly, avoiding large groups. And really, it's so great to see so many people and businesses across the state stepping up to be able to keep this virus in abeyance and be at a point where we can have, the type of announcement we're talking about today and some of the other exciting areas where Colorado is leading the nation on reopening. As everybody in our state knows, normal in the fall means a very important thing. It means football. It means the Denver Broncos. And Colorado is Orange Nation, and I know that everyone, including myself and my family, is of course very eager to get back to football Sundays. And we all know it's just not the same if they're playing to an empty stadium. I'm thrilled to announce today that the Denver Broncos game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on September 27th will allow a limited number of fans to attend. And this step is really possible because of the commitment and dedication of the Broncos organization. We're joined by Brittany Bowlen today, really to go above and beyond in putting together a safe experience for fans that values the team spirit and values the health of those who choose to attend. Now, the way that this is structured also can really be a template for other types of events. Effectively, it's not a big event with everybody together in a stadium. It's a series of events that effectively follow the guidance of 175 people or less. So when you look at where people enter, the restrooms they use, the concessions they use, it's like a number of different groups of 175 that are there. That would allow for the groups that do have an outbreak the contact tracing and the notification of others in that group, which is very hard to do if you had 10,000 people in one group or 5,000 people in one group. But you have a series of 175 people in different groups, and it's very much possible. The stadium is very large. It's a great approach, following this exact same rules as every other sector of society. In total, it's under 7.5% of their capacity. So for that Tampa Bay game, it'll be 5,700 paying fans in attendance, mostly season ticket holders. Also, a limited number of the half-price seats available that Brittany Bowlen can discuss. But really, an exciting way to offer accessibility for that in-person component, and really to talk about that big announcement more and how we can build upon it for the future. And really, it's important to go, a foot at a time, a yard at a time, and I'm confident that once the operationally, the Broncos and their excellent staff, really at the stadium level as well as the administrative level, are able to successfully implement this. There's certainly the opportunity to look at additional fans a few weeks later as well. But I'm so proud that we're joined by the Broncos Vice President of Strategic Initiatives, Brittany Bowlen, who's really been a key leader in these conversations about how we can return in-person fans to football in Colorado and be one of the leading teams in the nation in terms of welcoming fans back. And I'm proud to turn it over to Brittany.
Thank you, Governor Polis. On behalf of the Broncos organization, we appreciate your leadership during the COVID-19 pandemic. Since the very beginning, we have worked in partnership, and I am grateful for that continued collaboration. We're also thankful for the tremendous resources provided by the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. Thank you, Sarah, for being here with us today. It's been a team effort to fight against the spread of COVID-19, both at UC Health Training Center and in Power Field at Mile High. In particular, the players have continued to use their platform to set the right example for our community. Today's announcement, though, would not be possible without the safety and hard work that our entire community has put into place. Our organization thanks the community for playing by the rules and making health and safety a top priority in their lives. Fans are a big part of our team. They bring our entire building to life. That's why we're excited to welcome back a limited number of season ticket members starting September 27th, with many health and safety enhancements in place. As Governor Polis said, we are not back to normal, and Power Field at Mile High will look and feel very different this year. In addition to mask and social distancing requirements, seating will be done in small pods, and sections will be broken into groups. Details will be shared today, and we're happy to answer any questions. Our organization is hopeful that this is the start to gradually increasing fans at Broncos games this season. But we understand that that takes the entire community, both on game days and in our daily lives, doing our part. Our organization remains committed to partnering with Governor Polis and the state to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany, for your tremendous leadership in bringing in-person fans back to Colorado football and the Denver Broncos, as well as your ongoing initiatives at the team to make sure, of course, the players and staff and your team are safe, but also to make sure that at least in the second game, 5,700 Coloradans will be able to have that experience in a reasonably safe way too. We're so proud of our Denver Broncos, and we're really thrilled that you're going to help have over 5,000 Coloradans cheering them on in our second game. And I understand certainly the first home game is also really going to be used to really run through and make sure your stadium staff and others are familiar with that. I think it'll mostly be family members of the players and a few other guests, but I think that's really important to get that right. So we're excited that you're welcoming fans back. I want to thank you. We're here for you as a state, whether we're cheering for you at our TV sets with nachos in front of us, or we're at the game, or we're listening on the radio. We are all Orange Nation, and we are just so proud that you have helped lead the way in helping more than 5,000 Coloradans attend your game against Tampa. So thank you. In approving this approach for these kinds of specific events, we really want to make sure that we're able to look at results and use data as we always have in moving forward. We're grateful to the entire Broncos organization for being such a thoughtful partner in this regard. And this is a really important process to move forward on, and making sure that we can get this operation right. I know the Broncos really excel at implementation of the plan, and as they successfully implement the plan, we hope that we can work with them to make that a broader plan, and for their next home game a few weeks later, we'll look forward to working with them to providing a reasonably safe stadium experience for even more Coloradans. I also want to add, it's not just about professional football today. We also really treasure high school athletics. I've talked several times with Chaza in the last few days, and we want to work with them if their board moves forward and wants to propose a fall season for Chaza football. We would be thrilled to work with them to make that happen for the districts that are ready to go. And in my most recent conversations with Chaza, I think there's some opportunity to have a fall season for those who are ready, and for districts that aren't, because clearly returning to in-classroom instruction should be the priority. I mean, for districts that aren't even back in the classroom and aren't running buses, they want to provide the football experience, but many of them won't be ready till season C in the spring. So as long as it doesn't interfere with getting back to school, we would be thrilled to work with Chaza if their board chooses to move in this direction tonight to approve a fall schedule for Chaza sanctioned football to give our athletes a chance to compete, as well as, of course, provide a season C option for the districts that aren't yet ready to move forward. We also, another key component for any of this working is exposure notification, making sure that people who have been exposed, who might be contagious or contracting the virus, are aware of that as soon as possible. And that, along with wearing masks, along with tracing and tracking and exposure notification, these are really the way that we can get back to enjoying things that we love. I mean, we wouldn't even be in this position to be talking about being able to go to a Broncos game or playing fall football if we hadn't been successful in Colorado, more successful than many other states, in wearing masks, social distancing, and avoiding large gatherings. And today, we're announcing the next technological step in that regard. And Sarah Tuneberg, our head of testing and tracing, will discuss it in detail. But we're announcing our partnership between the state of Colorado and Google and Apple, two companies you've probably heard of that will leverage the cutting-edge technology that they've developed to slow the spread of COVID-19. It's a new exposure notification service. Colorados can opt into it on their phone later this month. It'll provide a way where you'll know if you were exposed to COVID while maintaining your privacy and data. This has worked very effectively in countries like South Korea. This was not the Apple and Google product, to be clear, but a similar product in South Korea worked very, very well in stemming the outbreak early and allowing them to get back to much more normalcy quicker than America has accomplished. So it's late in coming to us in America, but Colorado will be one of those first states to move forward in partnership with Google and Apple. Privacy and security are core to the design of this service. That was a non-negotiable prerequisite for us. And we made sure every step of the way that, just like in all of your financial transactions you may do on Google or Apple devices, that this has all the security that you would expect. It's offered both in Android as well as iPhone operating systems. If you opt in, you can be notified if you've been exposed to the virus from another person using the service. It doesn't track your location, it doesn't share your identity, but it just gives you an early heads up if you've been exposed to somebody with COVID-19. So you can go to get tested at one of the free, quick, and easy testing sites if you live near one in Grand Junction, in Pueblo, in Aurora, in Federal Heights, in Denver, open during normal business hours and on Saturdays to get, and Pueblo Fairgrounds as well. To get tested, or your local community health clinic or doctor. Our state, Colorado, is going to be one of the first in the nation to deploy this technology, and we want to use every tool in the toolbox to contain the virus and limit community spread so we can have more people go to Broncos games and more kids can play youth football, among many other things. Also, so schools can return, so businesses can go back to their full occupancy and all of those things that we need to accomplish and are in many ways leading the nation in. This tracking and tracing work with Apple and Google and the notification piece will help us. The more people download this and use this, the quicker we can get back to normal in the pandemic, which is absolutely critical that these social institutions that we value, like team sports, like public education, like church, are able to return as quickly as possible in a safe way. To give some more detail about this exciting cutting-edge technological effort, I want to introduce Sarah Tuneberg, the Director of Innovation Response Team and the state's lead for COVID testing and containment. Sarah.
Thank you so much, Governor. I am so excited to announce our participation in the Google Apple Exposure Notification what's called EN Express opportunity, I want to reiterate two really important things that the governor said. The first is that this is a choice. Everybody who has a mobile phone can decide if they want to enable this functionality. Totally up to you. Your choice, as with everything. And then the second thing we really want to reiterate is that in this app, there is no personal information that is tracked, shared, held, communicated with anybody else. It is an anonymized experience. So we really have emphasized and worked together with our tech partners to ensure the utmost of privacy in this very important application. So what is exposure notification? It's a technology that allows people to enable it on their mobile phones. At the end of the month, we'll have both an iOS version and an Android app version. You'll enable the functionality, and as you move through the world, anonymous tokens will be exchanged between your phone and another phone, and that will happen between you. What the governor had said is that we've seen this technology come a long way over the COVID period. We in Colorado have taken a really conservative approach. We've watched, we've waited, we studied Ireland, we watched Virginia unroll it, as well as our partners in Utah, and we wanted to be sure that we had this right. And we believe this is the right time because Google and Apple are rolling out this functionality native on your phones. You won't have to, on an iPhone, you'll just have to turn it on, and on an Android phone, you'll have to download an app. But we at Colorado aren't building a separate app, we aren't doing anything separate. It maintains the sort of simplest experience and allows the most people to use it. So we also think it's really important as we're doing more things like the Broncos and ski season and school coming back online, this reopening behavior, we want to have all the tools in the toolbox that we can in order to deliver on our containment requirements. Next slide, please.
And you can't beat the price, right?
Yes, the price is important. It is free for all of us. It's free for an individual to download it, and it's also free for the state of Colorado. We aren't paying any additional costs, and we also get the great benefit of tech support from the experts, Google and Apple. So let's talk a little bit about how it works. Let's assume our friends Alice and Bob meet each other for the first time. They're sitting on a park bench, or perhaps in Broncos Stadium, or even on a ski lift. They have a 10-minute conversation. They are appropriately physically distanced, but they talk for 10 minutes. In the background, their phones are exchanging through Bluetooth anonymous tokens back and forth with each other. Those tokens are stored on a public health server, the Public Health Labs server, but it's completely anonymous. It has nothing to do, there's no personal health information, it's not even anyone's names, but they're exchanged back and forth. Then a few days later, our friend Bob goes home, and he's not feeling good. He gets a test at one of his community-based testing sites, and his local public health agency calls him and says, "Hey, listen, you're positive." And they say, "Do you happen to have that app on your phone?" And he says, "Oh, yeah, I've got that app." And so they give him a key, and he enters that key in his phone, and that key then activates all of the tokens. And all of those tokens then send a message back to the phones that they were generated on and give people a little push notification that say, "Hey, look, you might have been exposed, call your local public health agency." And this is where Colorado gets to really make this specific for us, and we will give very specific instructions in that push notification about where individuals can get instructions about next steps, including testing, isolation, and quarantine. I skipped ahead in the story. Apologies there. There you have it. So this is another tool in our very important COVID-19 toolbox. The Apple Google EN Express service is compatible with nearly all smartphones. It will be rolled out towards the end of September, and Colorado is working with our partners to really customize this opportunity. I want to end by saying again, data security and privacy are of the utmost importance to us. This is a completely anonymized service that contains no personal health information. We are working with our partners to make this incredibly seamless and safe and enable us all to do the things we want to do. So thank you so much.
Well, I'm going to download it. Sarah, are you?
I am.
Brittany, you
Can't
going to
wait.
download it?
Absolutely.
That's great. And nobody will know that it might be the governor or the executive vice president of the Broncos that gets notified. So it's all anonymous. But it's great because, look, the more people use this, it's like mass. If 100,000 people use it, 300,000 people download it, the more people are getting notified early and being able to go in for testing if they need it and self-isolating if they need it. The quicker we can get back to more people at Broncos games, more activities, schools returning, all of those things. So really, you can't beat the price. It's free, not only for you, but also for the state, which we appreciate in these difficult budget times. And of course, I want to thank Apple and Google for their commitment to really helping provide the technological tools that empower states like Colorado to help contain this deadly virus. I also want to announce a new collaborative partnership between the state of Colorado, the Trailhead Institute, the Colorado Public Health Workforce Collaborative, and the Colorado Community College System to train thousands of new healthcare apprentices to help in containment. This is contact tracers, investigators, resource coordinators, really all of those folks working with Arapahoe Community College and Community College of Denver using portions of a federal grant. We're going to be able to help develop the ability to further accelerate our reopening by making sure that we have that human capacity in place. And finally, some good news for several counties in Colorado. We have 3 counties that have achieved the Protect Our Neighbors phase, the final reopening phase, and are being approved today to move to Protect Our Neighbors. And I hope that we can all join in congratulating Mesa County, Gilpin County, and Rio Blanco County for this great accomplishment. This gives these counties maximum flexibility in their borders, along with increased responsibility locally for containing the virus. And to achieve this, the counties have to show low overall incidence, which a number of counties have, but that has to be coupled with strong public health capacity to detect an outbreak early and jump on it with contact tracing and making sure that that can be limited. So I expect there'll be more counties along the way, but congratulations to Mesa, which has really been a long leader since the very start. First in Colorado to open restaurants, first to move forward with so many exciting parts of getting their economy going, and they've been very successful thus far. Knock on wood. This is a new phase for them, but their county health department really deserves a lot of credit as well for acting early. Gilpin and Rio Blanco, congratulations to all of you. Look, these are all exciting announcements, Protect Our Neighbors, new technology, Broncos, but I also want to be clear that this means that there's increased responsibility for all of us. Colorado, as you know, one of the very first states to end our stay-at-home order, to reopen, but along with that freedom that we enjoy in our state also comes responsibility. And the way that we're able to protect and grow that freedom and our economic recovery is by wearing masks when we're around others, is by avoiding large gatherings, and is by washing our hands regularly and having good hygiene. If Coloradans are doing that, and thus far the data really bears out that we are, we look forward to continuing to lead the way, and this new technological tool should give us an extra bounce in helping combat the virus. And of course, the more progress we can make, the more excited we'll all be to have even more fans against the Chiefs and against other games. We'll be excited to work with the Broncos on doing that in a safe way. Individuals, of course, in Colorado, best thing you can do, wear a mask in public around others, practice social distancing, avoid large groups, wash your hands regularly. And this virus is not going to go away tomorrow or anytime soon. So we need to figure out the path forward to live with it. How do you have everything you treasure in life, whether that's church or the Broncos or your kids' after school sports game? How do you have those things during a pandemic? The answer is not to stop them. The answer is to have them, but to have them in a way that is safe, reasonably safe for all involved, for those who participate, those who attend. How do we make sure that we have the social distancing really built in to these kinds of events to make them as safe as reasonably possible during a pandemic? And if we continue to act responsibly, then we're going to be a lot closer to quote unquote normal sooner rather than later. We need to build upon our success, redouble our commitment to being safe and wearing masks, and being apart from others and avoiding large groups. And together we'll be able to enjoy more and more of the things that we love about living in our great state. Happy to take some questions.
Can I start by asking you and Ms. Bowlen, already on social media, there's a lot of controversy saying you're showing favoritism. What about Vandermeer Speedway? What about churches that cannot have more than 175 people? Can you both please address that? And is there favoritism here because the Broncos are so beloved?
Well, the Broncos are beloved, but frankly, they're playing by the same rules here as every other type of large event. They're having a series of 175 person events in a very large outdoor setting. So, of course, that provides a framework for any other types of larger events that want to have cohorted groups of 175 with distinct entry points and operational distinction between them. And we encourage everybody, including the Speedway, including others that want to have large events, to really find a way to do that safely, because we want to get back to normal as quickly as possible, and having these events in a safe way is a big part of that, and I'll turn it over to Brittany.
And I just add that, this has been a plan that we put together over 3 months in the working, and we have truly partnered with the state as well as the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment to put these plans in place and make both infrastructural changes to our building as well as upgrade, our sanitation and disinfectant protocol.
To follow up on that, Marshall Zellinger over here, is there a process that the Broncos did that Vandermeer could have done to have been allowed more than 175 people along the way?
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, there's any. This isn't specific to any venue, but whenever you have a large outdoor venue, there are absolutely ways to have a larger group, more people attend than 175 by having them in distinct groups of 175. Why 175? No, I mean, sure, it could be 150 or 180, but why a number? It's because that really taps out the ability to do the contact tracing and notification piece, which is so important in fighting the virus. If you have a group of 1,000 altogether and 2 or 3 people have coronavirus, it's very hard to contact all 1,000 or even know who is around all 1,000. When it's a smaller, distinct size group, 150, 175, 120, just that cohort will be notified that they might have been exposed to the virus. So the way the Broncos are doing it is really first class, like everything about the Broncos organization. And other groups absolutely are looking at following that. I think there's a motorway looking at conducting events. As soon as Major League Baseball is willing to have fans, the Rockies also have an excellent plan to be able to do it. But I want to applaud the Broncos for really leading the way and putting together a cohesive, thoughtful approach to making sure that fans are reasonably safe, right? And that doesn't mean that fans that are at risk necessarily are going to want to run out to a Broncos game. If you're in your late 70s or you have some pre-existing conditions, you are going to want to think twice about attending these events in person. But for the rest of us, that shouldn't stand in the way of them being able to serve people in a way with cohorts of up to 175 with separate facilities and ability to get in that allows people to cheer on the Broncos in person.
Governor Polis, this is David Clue at Denver 7. I'm curious, you mentioned that you're happy to work with CHSA to get fall sports back in gear this year. Can you be more specific? Because obviously, if you don't like the presentation, there are not going to be fall sports. What specifically are you looking for that would give the go-ahead for that?
Well, to be clear, fall sports are actually already underway. I went to the first CHSA-sanctioned tournament a few weeks ago, golf tournament. A number of fall sports are underway. They have A season, a B season, and a C season. Really what's being discussed here is whether football can also occur in the A season in addition to the C season. The answer from my perspective is absolutely. If there's schools and districts that are ready to move forward with fall football and can implement that quickly, we want to encourage CHSA to allow for that, as long as they're running an analogous process in the C season for districts and teams that are not ready to compete in the A season, meaning a couple of things. Not ready to compete because the district doesn't have the transportation or the logistics ready to hit go right away. But just as importantly, we certainly don't want any sports to interfere with schools reopening. And while we have districts that are open and kids are attending every day, there are other districts that are opening in the coming weeks. And we don't want to add football on top of that. If they're ready to embrace it and ready to have fall football, we want to find a way for them to do it. But we also want to make sure if they want to keep it in C-season, there's a way to do it safely in C-season as well.
So are there any plans for a public awareness campaign? Some of the most prominent people to catch COVID have been athletes, both in our community and nationally.
You know, as I said, the players have continued to use their platform to, push messaging that's appropriate related to the spread of COVID-19, and we'll continue to work with our counterpoints in the NFL, as well as our staff and our players and our coaches to really set the best example for our community.
And I want to applaud especially the players on the Broncos and the Rockies who have just been such great ambassadors of mask wearing and the right kind of behavior and really being strong in their messaging. It's really great to see our professional athletes as role models stepping up in Colorado and encouraging safe behavior and responsibility.
Sorry, I'll add that as we continue to roll out our exposure notification, we'll also be working with influencers and active people within all of our industries in Colorado, our ski industry, our professional athletes on football, baseball, basketball, as well as musicians, artists, and other people who make Colorado great, and talk about how they're doing their part by downloading the app and using it. So that's coming too.
Governor Charles Ashby from the Grand Junction Sentinel. First of all, go Broncos. Secondly, there's a lot of talk right now about a vaccine maybe able to get to the market here real soon. I'm wondering what your people are working on as far as getting that out as soon as possible. I'm wondering how much you think this has been, hijacked by politics, whether or not they're going to rush things and that sort of thing. What are you hearing? What are people telling you about that?
Yeah, we need to separate politics 100% from the vaccine development process, meaning it's not about when Trump or Biden say there's a vaccine or don't say there's a vaccine. It's about when the scientists show that there's an effective and safe vaccine. We hope that is the sooner the better. And whether that's in November or December or January, there could be limited doses available by the end of the year. Those would be prioritized for nurses and hospital workers, first-line responders. We certainly hope that there's sufficient quantities for the general public early next year. But it's all predicated upon one of these vaccines being tested working. And so it's, in many ways, this is the cart before the horse here. I'm confident there's a lot of irons in the fire. I think that one or more will hopefully be safe and effective, but that will require the scientists demonstrating that and then rapidly gearing up production along with Colorado's role in distribution to residents of our state.
Tuneberg, I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the app, what the name is, how it will be downloaded, when it will be rolled out, all those details.
Yes, absolutely. So the app is called EN Express, Exposure Notification Express, and it will come towards the end of September. First, likely an iOS update will enable people to turn it on their phones. So if you have an Apple phone, an iPhone, an iPad, you won't have to download a separate app, but rather will be able to click the slide button and turn on the functionality. On Android, it likely will come just a few days later, and it will be a mobile phone app that you will download from the Play Store. Again, EN Exposure Notification Express. And we expect both of them by the end of September, and we want Coloradans to be prepared and know what it means, know how to use it, and definitely know how to turn it on or download it so we can begin sharing this really important information as we cross paths with others.
Hello, Winketer from the Denver Post. Just a few days ago, people from CDPHE and the School of Public Health were telling us, we need to be particularly careful this weekend about large groups and possible risks that could spread the virus as we're heading into respiratory virus season. And I wondered of allowing large groups to then gather to watch football. Is there a concern about allowing that as we are headed into respiratory season?
So we saw after 4th of July a significant increase in presence of coronavirus in our state a week or two after. We won't know the impact of Labor Day for another week or two. We're hopeful that Coloradans learned our lessons and avoided some of the practices that over 4th of July weekend led to that increase, but we won't know that for 2 weeks. We work closely with the Broncos, and of course the Broncos really responsibly led the way in making sure that rather than one gathering of 5,700 people, this is a series of distinct gatherings of 175 people each. So it's consistent with the guidelines across the state. There's many kinds of events from county fairs to church services, which have, 100, 150 people. And this is really consistent with that guidelines. And it's no greater a risk profile than having, 10 or 15 other events, all of which are up to 175 people in different parts of our state. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of events of, 100 people or so that occur every week across the vast, great, diverse state of Colorado.
So, in terms of the logistics of the Broncos, will people have to sit 6 feet apart, everyone? And I assume everyone's going to have to wear masks. And how will tickets be doled out?
So I'll take the first part of that question. Yes, there will be face mask requirements as well as social distancing. Seating will be done in pods from 1 to 6. And those pods will be separated into 6 feet, and then sections will be separated as well and will be encouraged to use the concessions and restrooms closest to their seating location, as well as our concessions and our restrooms will now be touchless and cashless. The second part of your question regarding how seats or how tickets will be handled, season ticket members will be entered into a lottery. It will be based on their priority number or weighted by their priority number. They will receive a time slot where they can go on to Ticketmaster and purchase tickets. If they choose not to purchase tickets, there's nothing they need to do at this time, and it will move on to the next season ticket member in the queue. Details will be shared with season ticket members as well as on our social and digital channels and our own website.
Season ticket holders, or will others?
There's a small percentage of tickets that historically have been sold at half price, and we will continue to honor those tickets.
What percentage?
I believe that it's 2.5% of capacity historically, but would need to confirm that with our ticket office.
Phone?
Hi, this is Alex Burness from the Denver Post. There have been a few mentions today of Broncos players, quote unquote, using their voices. And I'm curious to hear your perspectives on player activism prior to this moment.
I'm sorry, Alex. I need you to repeat the question.
I'm sorry, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay. There have been a few mentions today of Broncos players using their voices, and I'm curious to hear your perspectives on player activism, specifically Ms. Bowlen and Governor Polis. I'm curious to hear from both of you whether you believe the NFL owes Colin Kaepernick an apology, and I'm hoping you can both speak a bit on how, if at all, your views on athlete activism and political speech have evolved in recent months.
Well, look, I think it's great when any Coloradan gives voice to their authentic experiences and shares with others about what it's like to walk a mile in their shoes. And the truth is, for those of us who are white and have that white privilege, it's really important to hear about what it means to grow up as a young black man in America and learn about that. And of course, our professional players are ambassadors for that truth that is important that I think has a wider audience.
Internally at the Broncos organization, we've done a lot of listening and learning over the last couple of months. And we will do everything to support our players during this activism. we believe that there needs to be tangible progress, and we are ready to be part of that. And in the next week or so, you will see us roll out, a program that supports the players, our staff, and being part of that movement, both in the community and within our organization.
Restaurant guidance today, just given the weather. A lot of restaurants have been expanding outdoor seating and things of that nature. Is there any guidance or any advice as this cold weather moves in these next 2 days?
Yeah, and who are you with, by the way?
Oh, I'm Gabrielle with Fox 31.
Oh, great. Colorado generally, today and tomorrow accepted, has strong, good weather, into and through November, certainly through October. It's a nice time to eat outside through most of October. But yes, on the horizon, November, December, January, we know it's a lot harder for restaurants to reach 100, 120% capacity by including the outdoors on days where it's 10 or 20 degrees. And so we want to work with the restaurants in a creative way to find ways to do that. It might in some cases mean tenting with space heaters and fire pits. In other ways, it might be finding ways to increase the indoor capacity in a safe way.
Hi, Governor. Ed Seelover with the Denver Business Journal. Hey, I want to bear down a little bit on what the Protect Our Neighbors order means for Gilpin County. Specifically, will this allow casinos to have larger crowds in them? Will this allow casinos to get back table games? Just wondering if you could talk a little bit about what this is going to mean for the gaming industry.
Ed, we'll take that offline and give you a specific response, if you don't mind, about exactly what that means for that particular industry.
Okay.
The general guidance, Ed, by the way, is groups of up to 500 instead of 175 in those counties. But how it interacts with the gaming industry specific to the Gilpin casinos, we'll have our team get back to you on.
Hi. That was my question as well on the casino issue. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have some specifics and a fact sheet on that and what it means. There's a lot of activities it affects. It allows for increases in capacity over time, going up 5% on a regular basis, caps the larger events at a lower number, and it's a response to low transmission rate and strong county public health effort to find issues early and act to prevent them from becoming community-wide, or what Mesa, Rio Blanco, and Gilpin have demonstrated.
Can you talk to security concerns and what kind of firewall exists to make sure that whoever actually uses it, that the data, can law enforcement subpoena it and know my location for certain things? What protections, what are the terms and conditions I'll be checking without reading?
All great questions. The first thing I want to say about this is that your location is not tracked. It's not recorded. It's not ever logged. It doesn't get saved in any way, shape, or form. The only information that is exchanged in this app are a series of anonymous tokens or keys back and forth through Bluetooth between different phones. They are time-stamped. They won't know where you were when you got that token, won't know whose phone you were near, just exchanges them back and forth. And that is the only thing that is stored, and it's only stored for 14 days. After 14 days, it's automatically erased. There is very, very strong security around those tokens, but even if you got a hold of them, it would look like a list of gobbledygook numbers and letters, and you could not actually back into whose phone it came from, whose phone it went to. It literally is anonymous data, anonymous letters and numbers that are strung together. And that's the reason why we thought this was the time to use this technology, because we really do believe it is its safest, strongest data protection way we can do it.
Thank you all. I want to thank Brittany Bowlen for joining us on behalf of the governor of Orange Nation. Although Orange Nation expands beyond the borders of Colorado, we have many great fans in neighboring states and across the country. I want to thank you for your commitment to Broncos football and to bringing back some fans for the in-person experience. So thank you.